Is anyone opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. Can we move on to the meeting minutes from the last meeting?
I don't have those to share. Would you like me to pull them up, or do you want to just on those?
Or did I want to what?
Did you want to just go ahead and vote on those?
We
Did
can
you?
we can do that.
Oh,
Did anyone have any
sorry.
edits to the minutes? All right. Then can we get a motion to approve the minutes?
Make a motion to approve. This is Warner.
Second, Craddock.
All right. And actually, since there's no, you can go ahead and vote on approving the minutes. But since there were no edits, they will be approved. So I am going to go ahead and let us get started since we want to get our speakers in time today. So President Stokes, would you like to give your report?
I would. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks. Roberta, I want to keep my presentation short today. Since we last met at the end of September, it does seem like a lot has happened. There's been a federal government shutdown, and we're continuing to navigate that. But I know that our UNM Office of Research has been offering a lot of guidance as needed. And I think most of you here know that you can get that information at research.unm.edu under the Tracking Federal Funding update. There are other impacts of the shutdown which are being navigated. If you saw my President's Weekly Perspective, I mentioned the potential for SNAP benefits being going away in the coming days if there's not a change. And we do have, I don't know, it's a large number of our students, I think, who do use SNAP benefits. And so I just want to remind everyone about the availability of the Lobo Food Pantry. And, mentioned that in my message yesterday. And of course, there are a lot of things going on that in lots of offices that are being navigated institutionally. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. UNM Gives, which is our annual partnership with the United Way of North Central New Mexico. It goes on until November 30th. One of our marquee events, I think I mentioned in the last meeting, was the Salsa Showdown. And the person that won got free parking for a year for the number 3 salsa. Went to Colton Newman, who's a business manager at UNM's CASA, the Center on Alcohol, Substance Use, and Addictions. We've also, since I last saw you, launched a vision for trying to modernize our university stadium and revitalize our South Campus as a mixed-use district that serves UNM and the community. We received some state capital outlay funding in this last year. So this is a comprehensive planning, development planning and feasibility study that's actually being done. And it will outline some modernization options for the stadium and exploring opportunities for UNM's role as both an academic and a community anchor. So there's a lot more to come, but I wanted you to know it was launched, and there'll be lots of campus conversation around it in the not too distant future. Also, we had a great homecoming week. It was the 100th anniversary of homecoming. There were lots of events. We had a first of its kind Lobo living room related to basketball for men and women's basketball at the pit. There were really a lot of events that week that were, focused, done by our alumni association or our student organization. So all in all, really, really a nice time. We'll be exploring the ways in which we can strengthen homecoming as a tradition at the university. I've often been told that there was a time when colleges competed for who was most had done the best job focusing on homecoming. So that's a future conversation in the coming weeks. We had a cross-disciplinary team that was led by our Vice Provost Pamela Cheek that received a 5-year, $2.7 million grant from NSF to help more students thrive in STEM. I don't think I told you about this last time. I'm hoping I'm not repeating something that I shared with you then, but the project is intended to make introductory gatekeeping courses more engaging and more effective pathways into science, technology, engineering, and math. Also, a recent announcement is that our Vice President for Research, Ellen Fisher, has been awarded and honored with the John A. Thornton Memorial Award from ABS, recognizing her groundbreaking contributions to materials chemistry. So we're really proud that she had received such a recognition. I believe it was our provost office, maybe joined with others, that hosted a Know Your Rights session that covered topics like immigration rights and travel considerations and pathways to residency, so that our campus community, our students, could be informed and supported in what is a rapidly changing area. If you travel out of Albuquerque or into Albuquerque, a UNM display was unveiled at the Sunport. It's part of a new Knowledge Concourse exhibit. And you've probably seen where we talk about UNM as the land of achievement. And there's a display that highlights our commitment to excellence in academics and research and patient care, athletics. So it's the range of all of the many parts of the institution. I'm going to be in the airport tomorrow morning, and I'm looking forward to taking a look. We received a generous legacy building investment in UNM's College of Fine Arts from the Performance Santa Fe Foundation. They have established an endowed scholarship and student enrichment fund. It's focused on students from Santa Fe County and across northern New Mexico, but the funds support degrees in music, dance, and theater, and covers scholarships, mentorship, and enriched experiences like travel for auditions and specialized training. So this is a pretty big award for that college and for those students. Coming up, you probably know that we have our UNM 2025 Research and Discovery Week, and it starts November 6th. It's a campus-wide showcase of the innovation and creativity and impact of research on our campus. The week features exhibitions, workshops, and performances, and lectures that are open to the public. There are 2 renowned keynote speakers, and there's a UNM Research Advances New Mexico Expo. So a lot to focus on the research mission for the university as part of Research and Discovery Week. Also, on November 12th, we'll be hosting an annual community engaged research lecture in George Pearl Hall. That lecture is always something worth being part of. And so I'm hoping that our faculty will be able to participate. Our Department of Africana Studies is inviting New Mexicans to help build a living archive of community history through something they're calling Tell Us Your Stories. It's an online hub. The first story is David Happy Jack Jackson, a Black homesteader who arrived in New Mexico in 1897. So opportunities to tell your own stories. I don't know if you've seen that major mural because I don't know where you travel about on campus, but if you are on the corner of University and Central, you'll see just one of the biggest and most amazing murals ever. We did a press conference with the city. It's part of the Route 66 Centennial Celebration. And I believe we had some alums that were part of doing that mural. Our contribution is called Mother Moment, and it's truly a striking mural right there at the UNM Arts Lab. I heard when it was first started, it's a giant space wall on that building. And I think I heard they painted it pink, and it's like you didn't know what was going to land there, but it's really something beautiful. The local artists alumni were Noah Barnett and Travis Black. So take a look at it. I've hosted 100 things, it feels like, as part of homecoming and part of other things, donor events. Visited Sandia Labs to talk about our partnerships. Did an event with the Roadrunner Venture Studios. Done a little tour of some downtown locations because we continue the conversation around exploring whether there are things that we can do in partnership with the downtown. But I suspect what most of you want to know is, what can I tell you about the search for my successor? And so I thought I'd tell you what I know, and then kind of what you might expect in terms of timeline. The Board of Regents met, and you can see it publicly now. I think there's a website. You can see that Isaacson Miller was the firm that was selected to do the search, and the search consultant and the firm itself are the same ones that were engaged when the university was doing its search in 2017. So it's the same firm that I actually interacted with when I was named president. And since that time, the search consultant has been involved with a lot of searches at UNM, a number in academic affairs and elsewhere. So it's a search consultant that knows our campus very well. The Board of Regents did meet to talk about a charge for the search committee that's not yet formed. And they approved the charge. It outlines the kind of the intentions related to what the search committee does. It does make clear what is true, which is the Board of Regents, one of their sole duty, one of their probably their most important duty might be the hiring or the firing of a university president. So very much a part of what they're charged with. But they'll be getting really good guidance from leadership and again from the search firm that I have a lot of confidence in. I mentioned that the search committee has not yet been formed, and I know people are feeling anxious around kind of the silence. I know some people might have been reached out to provide recommended names, but I don't think we're going to hear any more about that search committee until the Board of Regents actually is able to have a special meeting and approve the kind of the framework for the search committee itself. I think the last time I was with you, I shared that it is the hope that the search committee would not be one of the really, really monster large committees that sometimes are formed. That, the hope is to keep this one relatively small, but small is like I said, it's relative. So I know that there is, I expect there to be leadership, faculty, a couple of members of the community, student, staff representation on this search committee would be my expectation. But again, I will say the Board of Regents is going to have a special meeting to really figure out that framework and approve it. And then I think sometime right soon after that meeting, that committee will be populated using the recommendations that have come from a lot of people. And I know that recommendations continue to come in for that search. I know they're putting together the timeline. I know that there's been a meeting with the search firm, and they are starting to create the dates where the search firm will be on campus conducting forums and listening sessions with a whole host of people on campus and in the community. So I expect we'll have more information about that timeline in the not too distant future. I think that the special meeting will be next week. We're running into trouble with the schedule of the board members themselves, but I do think the hope is that that meeting will be next week. And assuming that that is true, then you'll start to see and hear more about that search process. And I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say at this point about the president's search. So with that, I'll just, I'm certainly willing to take any questions or wait till after the provost report, if that's your preference.
I know the provost has to leave early, so maybe we should go ahead with, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, why don't we go ahead
I
with
still
your
have a little
pres-
bit of time, Roberta, so if you'd like to entertain questions for
Okay,
President Stokes, that's perfect with me.
all right, then
Thank
let's
you.
entertain some questions. Who has questions for President Stokes?
Silence. Sometimes that's a really good thing. Well, okay,
Yeah.
thank you. And look forward to seeing you around campus.
Thank you. All right. It's all yours.
All right, I think it was a sign, President Stokes, that your report was very thorough. So um, I'm happy to be here with you this afternoon. I am here to report on what's been happening in academic affairs since the last time we met. And I have a few follow-up items that I know I had a question that was posed during my last report, and I'm happy to share some of the information that I gathered in response to that question. So again, my name is Barbara Rodriguez, and I am currently serving as the interim provost. And Teresa, thank you so much for navigating the slides. Here's a list of the items that I'll be presenting on today. It'll be a quick report, but I want to make sure that I cover some important topics here that I think you'll be interested in knowing about. The first topic has to do with our faculty awardees. And each year, we identify faculty through the tenure and promotion process who really stand out as incredible leaders in the area of scholarship and creative works. So through the Provost Advisory Review Committee, we identify these stellar candidates and further vet their portfolios, their dossiers, and make recommendations to the provost as to who we recommend receive leadership awards at the associate and full professor levels. So in the next slide, you'll see an image of this year's awardees. For main campus, we have James Kavanaugh out of the Department of Psychology, Peter Gilbert from Music, Melvida Chi from Linguistics, and Mingwei Chen from Nuclear Engineering. Our colleagues at HSC also identify awardees for this leadership award, and we have faculty from pharmacy and the School of Medicine who round out the group of this year's Research and Creative Works Leadership awardees. So we're really, really proud of them, and we had a lovely reception at President Stokes' house to honor their accomplishments. In the next slide, you'll see that at the same reception, we honored distinguished professors. For Central Campus, we had one distinguished professor promoted to the highest rank this past cycle, and that is Ian Thompson from the College of Arts and Sciences in the Department of Philosophy. And we're really proud of Ian and all that he has accomplished. So in the coming weeks, in the next slide, we'll show that the call for nominations for distinguished professors is up. We hope that schools and colleges take a look at the nomination process and the deadlines that are posted on the Provost's website. This is a collaborative effort between Academic Affairs and the Office of Faculty Academic Affairs at the Health Sciences Center. So we pull all of our nominees together and do the vetting to identify the next group of distinguished professors. So I encourage you to take a look, nominate your colleagues, and we look forward to welcoming the next group of distinguished professors to the ranks in the coming months. In the next slide, this gives you a sense of the work that we did during the last cycle for retention, promotion, and tenure. You'll see that for Central Campus, we had 25 candidates for mid-probationary review, 25 for tenure and promotion. Promotion to professor, we had 21, senior lecturer promotion, 8, and principal lecturer on Central Campus, there was 1. On our branch campuses, we had 3 who went through the mid-probationary process, 2 faculty who were up for tenure and promotion, and 2 who were promoted from associate to full professor. So in total, you can take a look that we had 87 faculty who were successfully retained and promoted and tenured. Next slide. Quickly run through some programs of interest. Some of these President Stokes mentioned. We had our Grand Challenges Day. It was a wonderful day celebrating our new Level 1 teams. There was branch campus representation on these teams, so it was a delight to sit and listen to the amazing plans and work that these groups will accomplish over the coming years. There was also a wonderful panel that the Office of the Vice President for Research constituted that discussed future funding opportunities, which I found particularly useful as we face some of the new changes at the federal level with respect to grant funding opportunities. So it was a wonderful day. Next. Our College of Education and Human Sciences was fully engaged with the Albuquerque Public Schools at Lobos at APS Day, which is a fantastic opportunity for our UNM faculty, staff, and administrators to connect with our APS colleagues in the classrooms and support teams through shadowing exercises and other opportunities. And I will also add that I was at the APS Academy's presentation earlier today. That is a collaborative effort between APS and the United Way that is really looking to innovate and create new pathways for our secondary students in APS. And we are pleased to be a partner in helping conceptualize these pathways. So a lot of great work happening between the College of Education and Human Sciences and APS. I'm really proud of both entities. I also had a wonderful opportunity to go to the Pre-Doc Center on a lovely Sunday afternoon to celebrate the opening and ribbon cutting of the Pre-Doc Center for Design and Research. In addition to that, we were celebrating the 50th anniversary of our School of Architecture and Planning. The mayor was there on this beautiful Sunday, and the renovations to this space are outstanding in that we have 40 students right now who have space in this new center to do their design. And we're looking for additional space to become available in this center to provide our students really state-of-the-art space for their work in architecture and planning. Next up, our team hosted the Art and Science of Data from Numbers to Narratives. And this was a very well-attended event in that it was a hybrid event. And in total, we had 192 participants. So Charla Orozco, who is the director of the Office of Institutional Analytics, partnered with the Office of Assessment and created a program that we found to be very useful. We had faculty, staff, and students in attendance. So we're really happy and pleased with the outcome there. And then finally, as President Stokes mentioned, we're looking forward to Research and Discovery Week. I point out here a few of the keynote lectures that I encourage everyone to attend if you are able. There are some interesting presentations here, from Community Engaged Scholarship Lecture by Moises Gonzalez to the keynote lecture by Poppy Crum, whose lecture is titled From Data to Mind: How Technology is Reshaping Our Minds and Performance. So I encourage you all to take a look at the schedule and participate to the extent that you are available. We're really looking forward to that week. And then as a follow-up to the last presentation I did, I know that I presented the enrollment and retention data, and there was a question from one of our senators about the transfer student retention data. So I'm happy to share in the next slide what that retention data looks like. So as you can see, fall 2024 full-time retention rate for our transfer students is at 72%, a slight drop, from fall of 23, but steady overall in terms of our full-time retention rate for transfer students. So thank you for that question. This data includes branch campus transfers and transfers from other New Mexico institutions. We have not pulled out the branch students, campus students. We haven't pulled them out of this data set. All of these data represent students who transfer in from either the branches or other New Mexico institutions, as well as out-of-state transfers. So moving on, I know I mentioned last time that we have a wonderful opportunity to further support student retention efforts. We are right now getting ready to distribute $1.3 million to our schools and colleges for student retention projects. We have received proposals from a variety of schools and colleges that are proposing things like activities like peer mentors, peer learning facilitators, AI applications for retention, a series of projects that we are really interested in learning more about through preliminary implementation and seeing how things look. These are, again, one-time funds that need to be expended by the end of this fiscal year. So the notices are getting ready to go out to the schools and colleges in the coming days, and we're really excited that there was interest in working and looking more at unique, innovative programming designed to further enhance our student retention. I will also say that some of these funds are going to address the additional course sections that are needed by the increased enrollment, and as well as the course sections, additional need around student advisement. So finally, I'd like to kind of wrap up today's presentation discussion around a couple of the initiatives that are happening in academic affairs. As you all know, our colleagues at the Health Sciences Center have a very important goal of doubling the workforce for our healthcare professions over the next several years. What I've proposed in academic affairs is to pull together a task force that is designed to help us on the central campus and branch campus side of academic affairs, help us understand what kinds of things we need to be preparing in order to support the expansion of our healthcare workforce needs. Things like, for example, fume hoods. Do we have enough operable fume hoods in the laboratories to meet the course demand? Do we have the necessary academic personnel capacity in the various courses? Is there a financial model that we need to consider? How do we ensure that we have inter-campus communication and collaboration? What contribution do our branch campuses, what can they make, contributions can they make to that effort? How can we support them in doing so? So on the next slide, I list a few of the deliverables that are expected by this task force. This is a task force that will likely do work over the next 18 months. The deliverables include identifying challenges and opportunities, short, mid, and long-term plans to enhance our capacity and ensure that we sustain high-quality education, not only in the prerequisite courses that are necessary for nursing, but how do we continue to sustain the high quality education that we deliver in history, in communication, in et cetera? How do we align the recommendations with our 2040 strategic framework? And an important deliverable is to design a governance and communication model to ensure successful execution of the plan. So that's one of the initiatives happening here on in academic affairs. The other is that we have spent time making visits, visiting with the various leadership teams across campus, the schools and colleges. I've been to a couple of branch campuses, Los Alamos and Valencia to date. I have a date identified for Taos and another date identified to visit Gallup. Here are some of the things that we learned from our school college leadership and branch campus leaders. The preliminary themes that have come out of these conversations include, not surprising, resource needs, cohesiveness, visibility on campus, organizational culture and communication, fostering a spirit of interdisciplinarity. So the other thing that I'd like to share on the next slide is that what we also learned is that what's happening in our academic units is that they are driving meaningful engagement initiatives. They are working really hard to elevate organizational culture and communication. They're bringing forward some really innovative and bold new ideas. They're transforming teaching and learning practices. They're equipping emerging leaders for success and thinking deeply about how to do more of that. They're investing in new academic pathways. How does Honors College create pathways to other units on campus? They're driving excellence through targeted graduate programming. Our graduate studies dean is very, very committed to working on that issue. And they're also curating transformative co-curricular experiences. So we've done a lot of listening. We've done a lot of learning. On Thursday morning, I am hosting a brunch with our branch campus leaders. And what the goal of Thursday morning is to accomplish, and walking away from Thursday's brunch will be successful if we identify 2 to 3 concrete things that we can accomplish between now and the end of June that help us address some of the issues identified in the previous slide, as in visibility, communication, interdisciplinarity. What are some small but important things that we can do to move the needle on the things that we have learned about over the last several weeks and months? So with that, I think that concludes my report, and I too will stand for any questions.
You have 2 questions in the chat. The first is, are branch campus faculty eligible for the awards?
So I'm assuming, Justin, that you are referring to the Research Leadership and Creative Works Awards. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah, to date, our branch campus colleagues have not been part of that consideration. This was a proposal that came forward from our research council and was delivered to Provost Holloway soon after Provost Holloway arrived and I was in the office. That's certainly something that we can consider. I'd be really interested in working with our research council to add a branch campus arm to this leadership award program. I think it'd be wonderful to highlight some of the amazing work that our branch campus colleagues are doing at all of our campuses. Great suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you have one more.
I see Satya has asked if I can tell you who's on the Health Professions Enrollment Growth Task Force. I can't tell you just yet because I haven't sent out all of the invitations. I will tell you that there are many people who are so interested in participating in this effort. And the way that I visualize this happening is that we'll have various small working groups that come together periodically to report to the lead of the task force itself. So I can tell you for certain that Dan Garcia is going to lead the small working group around the enrollment piece. And he'll have his small working group that does their work and then reports back to academic affairs on a regular basis. There will also be a team that's focused on the financial modeling. We have our colleagues from the Health Sciences Center who have also expressed interest in participating in this effort. So soon we'll be revealing who will be the leads on this effort. And if anyone here is interested, please send me a message and I'd be happy to add you to the list of interested parties.
Thanks. Thanks, Barbara.
Sure.
Are there other questions? All right, last call. Any for President Stokes or Provost Rodriguez? All right, thank you both for your presentations. It is greatly appreciated. So now we're to me. So I really want to start out by thanking all of you for your dedication to shared governance at UNM. And I say this partially because you're here, but also because I was having a conversation today with a colleague who came here from Texas, where they basically, through legislative action, got rid of faculty governance at state universities. So it's one of those things that it's really important for people to take an active part in, because you never know when it could go away if we're not advocating for ourselves and for the role we play in a university. I'd also like to take a few minutes to recognize two important developments that reflect the strength of our faculty voice and shared values. The first is that President Stokes did sign the parental leave policy. This really is a meaningful step forward for our university community. The new policy expands support for faculty welcoming children and really demonstrates a commitment to equity, work-life balance, and a sense of belonging at the university. And I really want to express my sincere appreciation for all those that contributed to the Faculty Senate committees that did this work, to the UNM administration for supporting it, and for all the faculty and staff that provided very thoughtful input. This really is a very good example of what we can accomplish through collaboration and a shared purpose. As we move forward, we always need to follow up, because policy really isn't any good until it's operationalized. So we'll want to make sure that this gets put into place with procedures that are clear, consistent, and equitable and work for everyone. And then the second thing actually that I wanted to mention passed back in April, which was the resolution for a mutual academic defense compact. And I guess I want to acknowledge that today I received a message from Jennifer Robbins, who's the chair of the Faculty Senate at CNM, who reached out to share that their Senate passed a resolution in solidarity with our resolution to basically support that same compact. The MADC is a national alliance of universities that are committed to defending academic freedom, shared governance, and institutional autonomy. And by aligning with this compact, UNM stands with a lot of other people for free inquiry, integrity, and protection of the faculty voice. So it really was nice that C&M reached out to say they followed what we had done and used ours as a model. Um, and and then I wanted to let you know that I have arranged, thank you to Nancy Middlebrook for setting up a poll to find out when we could all get together this week. A group that includes the chair of the branch council, community college council, um, the Council on Governance, the HSC Council, and a couple of other people to start talking proactively about questions faculty would ask to all of the presidential candidates. And so we're trying to be a little bit proactive in getting this group together to figure out a process for us to get input from faculty about the questions we want to make sure are asked to candidates, and to be able to forward those to the Board of Regents and other people in a timely fashion, as it looks like they're moving fairly quickly. So if we don't move quickly, the train will leave the station without us. So these are really two important developments, and I just wanted you to all be aware of them. And thank you for your continued service to the university and to the Faculty Senate, because what happened in Texas really is kind of alarming. And we should just be aware of it. And with that said, that's really all of my report, unless anybody has any questions. The Faculty Senate, there's a comment that is the MADC taking any action? I'm on their email chain, and it's very interesting because they made me change my registration to the email chain to a Gmail account because the UNM email account was being blocked, so for whatever reason. And that's the case with a lot of universities, and they're not sure why that's happening, but that's the university where it is. Are they taking any action? Mostly they're coordinating and trying to help other universities pass similar resolutions at this point. And then there's a comment, the Faculty Justice Social Committee is in weekly talks with C&M faculty about building a New Mexico MADC network. And so I would ask if you do that in coordination with the Faculty Senate who passed the resolution, and that we all work together toward a shared vision. So yeah, just so that it really is coordinated. Is passing resolutions effective and creates change? I don't know the answer to that. I think certainly passing resolutions lets people in positions of power know where you stand. And it says that as a faculty senate, as a faculty as a whole, since we represent the faculty, we were willing to put our voice behind an action. I think some resolutions should be followed up with policies. And that if you don't follow the resolution up with policies, then you're not taking the next step of the actions. But all of this stuff needs to be, I mean, we have a Faculty Senate for a reason, and the Faculty Senate is so we kind of speak with one voice. We act in coordination with each other. And we act in a way that represents hopefully all of the faculty. And to do that, so So, and this is starting, there's a whole separate conversation, folks, going on the chat. So if you have questions, you may want to ask them so everybody can see them. And we can have discussions about that. We can put MADC as a discussion point on this agenda for one of our coming meetings. But I don't have the ability to track in my head. I'm sorry. All the stuff going on in the chat and all the questions. So if you have a question, you want to say something, please unmute and say what you want to say. So I'm not translating it to everybody that's not following the chat. Go ahead, Justin.
So we have breakout groups later in the session, correct?
Yes, we do.
If I like the Social Justice Committee to be one of those breakout groups, and if people are eager to discuss MADC conversation and possible action-oriented movement, please join us for that, because we don't currently have enough bodies to do the capacity that we need to make the kind of stuff that you want happen. So join us. Thank you.
Yeah, and so there are 10 breakout groups plus the Social Justice Committee. The goal, and I hope the Social Justice Committee is still moving toward that, was to become an official committee of the Faculty Senate, in which case it would not be a breakout group anymore. It would be an official committee. But that takes work, and I hope that they are taking the steps that we need to make that happen. But yes, it will be that. And then the goal is, after your breakout groups, you come back to this group and you report on what you're doing so that we can start making progress on the things that are important. But we can do it as a faculty senate as a whole. All right. We are way over time, and I want to get to breakout groups. So we have a presentation, unless anybody else had any quick comments. And I don't see any hands up. So we have a presentation by the Division for Change and Empowerment, which is the new title. So I am going to turn it over to you and let you go ahead and start your presentation, because I think this is one of the important things that's happening.
So much. I appreciate you all having me today. And one of your senators is also working in the Division of for Change and Empowerment, Nair Otaño Gracia. And so thanks, Nair, for all your contributions. And so I just wanted to give you all an update on our name change and a few other changes in our portfolio. And so I'm going to do that relatively quickly due to the time that you have available. And so in August, we had a retreat with staff in our division, and we updated our hopes for the future, mission, values, and also made some updates to our portfolio. And so our hope for the future is that we envision a university where all Lobos are empowered to pursue success without barriers. And our mission is that we seek to elevate and strengthen UNM's core values by creating access for cultivating the potential of and inspiring all Lobos. We do so by learning from our legacies and fostering connections for synergy, hope, and joy. And I won't read all the values to you, but I'll just give you the preamble and share my favorite one. As the heart of the pack, we build on our roots to amplify the voices of UNM's communities by following these core values, as you see listed. And then our favorite one, remembering to dance even in the midst of difficult circumstances. And so on the basis of our new mission and hope for the future, we determined that, oh, this is just advancing on its own, that our division name will be Division for Change and Empowerment, or DICE, which means you say, you proclaim, you affirm. And that link that doesn't want to stay on there is a link to our website. This is our team in the Division for Change and Empowerment. And we have a few other updates. You're already familiar with our update in terms of the critical analyses of US and global cultures. I spoke with you about that back in the spring. And our lead council is now LEID, Liaisons for Excellence, Innovation, and Development. Our postdoc program is now the Faculty Forward postdoc program. And we meet monthly in our ALSA Council. All are welcome to join us. And in honor of our quinceañera celebration, it's the 15th year of the LGBTQ Resource Center. And so it will now and forever be known as the Arco Iris or Rainbow Center. And so, yeah, reach out to me if you have questions about anything. And so just a couple of ways to get connected and some resources. As I mentioned, the ALSA Council meets the first Wednesday of every month. During the academic year, we start at 11:30 with a lunch and opportunity for faculty and staff to connect, because so often we're in our silos and don't have those opportunities. It's in the Roberts Room, and we will have hybrid meetings in November, on November 5th, as well as on March 4th. So just reach out to us and we will make sure that you receive the link if you would like to attend that meeting on Zoom. The other quick update I wanted to share is the Alliance for Hispanic Serving Research Universities. Unfortunately, we lost one of our colleagues from that alliance. It used to be 27, now it's 26 research intensive HSIs. And we're in our second year of our postdoctoral fellowship cohort program. The internal deadline for that will be December 1st. We'll be sending out a note on ALFAC about it, but I just wanted to bring your attention to that. And I'm just being really quick here. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is the National Center for Faculty Development. You all have access to an individual membership through our institutional membership. And there are resources there for dissertation success as well. So please share this information with your graduate students. And we have just posted on InfoReady the applications for the Faculty Success Program scholarships for 2026. So I think that was about, oh, one more thing, very important. Dr. Tanya Gracia is leading both writing challenges in DICE as well as listening circles. And so the writing challenges are every Monday and Wednesday from 9:30 to 11 a.m. And we have 2 more listening circles on Wednesday, the 29th of October, tomorrow at 11 a.m. and then on the 26th of November at 11 a.m. And so you see the QR codes for that information. And I think that is it for me. This is just information about the Arco Iris Center. And then if you didn't get a chance to take down all I said so quickly, this QR code takes you to a list of all of our resources. So I'll leave that up for a second and see if there are any questions.
All right, I'm going to open it to questions, but the one I have to start with is, could you say anything about the status of Hispanic serving institutions? And
that is
loaded
such a good
question.
question. And I'm going to go ahead and leave this up just for one more minute to make sure folks can get a picture of the QR code. So that is something that is up in the air. Back in, I think it was March, our status as an HSI was reaffirmed by the federal government. But of course, the Tennessee lawsuit challenging HSI status and resources to HSI institutions was successful over the summer. And so that does seem to put that HSI status into some kind of jeopardy. And of course, it's very concerning in terms of our membership and the Alliance for Hispanic Serving Research Universities, that one institution decided to no longer affiliate with the HSRU. So, more to come, I'm sure, but it is certainly concerning.
Does anyone else have any questions?
See some things in the chat. Yes. Thank you so much, Nair, for your offer to send the poster on writing challenges. And I'll put my email in there in case anyone has questions or anything on anything, or if you would like me to come and speak to your unit about all of these changes.
And I would encourage everybody to also take the poster from the site and share it with the faculty in your areas. We do have one question. Go ahead, Michelle.
Hello. Hi, Dr. Sarai. Thank you for your presentation. And I think I was listening, but I think I missed the visual of the slide for FSP. And I wanted to just check in about, with regards to the application, is there a way for a department that knows that they have an incoming assistant professor line, but maybe they're still engaging in their search, so they don't know who it will be yet, to submit an application on behalf of the person that they end up hiring, so that when they start in the fall, they already have that resource secured for them? Or does it have to be an application from the faculty member themselves?
That is such a great question. We do ask for an application from the faculty member themselves, but those aren't due until May for next academic year. And so hopefully that person will be identified and hired. All of this information is on our website. And so we do encourage you to invite candidates, even candidates, to get to know the resources in DSA, because we're hoping that the kinds of resources we offer will assist you in your search and in recruiting new faculty members. There are some obligations that we require of individuals who receive the scholarship. And so that's why they have to apply on their own, because the department can't necessarily promise on behalf of a scholar. So that's how that works.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Roberta, you're on mute. I'm not sure if you're talking. Oh, you're on the phone.
I was talking. Sorry about that. The next thing on the agenda, on our agenda, first of all, thank you for this presentation and all the work you did on making the updates. The next thing is an update on Title II changes, and I think we were going to have Mary Rice present.
Hello, I'm Mary Rice, and I'm an associate professor of literacy in the Department of Language Literacy and Sociocultural Studies on main campus at UNM. And I do have some slides for you as well. So it says that the sharing is not turned on. So I can actually just
Give me
I
just
have-
a sec, I'll fix that.
Okay. But Title II is about the final rule updates to the Americans with Disabilities Act and regarding digital accessibility. And I'm on the digital accessibility steering committee for UNM, but also it is an academic interest of mine. So particularly within the College of Education, I do a lot of research in that area. And so it's an intellectual interest that I have as well. So it looks like the sharing is up. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my slides here and turn these on, but also I have a QR code where you can go ahead and scan this, and then it will take you to a Google slide version of it where you can actually just have all of my slides. So then you can sort of flip through them, go back to ones that you want. if anybody would like to talk to me afterwards, whether you're from a branch campus or on campus, or you'd like me to come talk to your unit, then I can go ahead and do that. So one more second and then I'll go forward. The premise of federal accessibility guidance in general is that people who are qualified can't be denied benefits or services to activities in public entities or be subjected to discrimination. And so then back in the day, so almost 50 some years ago, then that's when this guidance was initiated. And then that there was no internet, or at least there was no internet that people had public access to. So being speedy and wanting to update things in 2024, they decided that they'd go ahead and do some revisions. And so what happened is with the ADA Title II revisions, all materials, web materials and mobile apps available through public entities, including universities, have to fit a technical standard, and that technical standard is called WCAG 2.1 AA. And so that requirement can't be waived because you bought it from a third party, and a program or activity includes people like us, and it includes the branch campuses as well. And it's very important that a lot of stuff that we're going to talk about or that gets talked about quickly is going to be instructional, but it's more than instruction. So it's like if people pay for their meal plan through the university on a web app, that has to be accessible. If people buy football tickets, that has to be accessible. And also, if you're an employee and you're applying to the university, that stuff has to be accessible. The RPT web pages, all that has to be accessible, etc. And so the UNM Faculty Senate should care about that final rule because a couple of reasons. One, it provides a new avenue for legal remedy when students fail courses, have to retake them, or fail to finish degrees. And so another really important thing is that historically students have had to move through accessibility services and show documentation and receive accommodations for a lot of stuff related to instruction, particularly on digital resources. But now it's just supposed to be accessible. And of course, there are still going to be services that are not related to accessible web and mobile applications that are still going to require ARC. So it's not like that's going away. But stuff on the web that we're making available as part of access to programs is just supposed to be accessible. But also faculty, again, like you are supposed to have access to those things as well. So how soon do those changes go into effect? Well, April 26th, 2026. And so that's actually coming up soon. And there is a consensus among universities that most people aren't going to like get everything all accessible by then. And so there's going to be a little bit of like remediation and triage and some of those sorts of things. So for entities that are serving geographic areas that are small, then there's supposed to be another year. But this question about branch campuses becomes tricky because technically they serve the whole state. And so I'm not a lawyer, I don't have legal training. The people that I have talked to that do said that you need to talk to your own lawyers about this issue of branch campusing. So, and people have said in our meetings, oh, it doesn't count for branch campuses, but I don't know. So, important features. So I went back here. It says WCAG 2.1 AA. What does that mean? These are the sorts of things. So I kind of group them like this. So descriptions for comprehension, organization for navigation. So things like videos need captions on them. So there's going to need to be descriptions for various things. For like, if you have a video, then there needs to be a description by it saying what it is. Alt text for images. So there needs to, the tables that you use in your course materials that are digital need to be set up to be read by a screen reader, which is a special technology that mostly that people use who are blind or have vision impairment. So documents need headings on them. And then course organization. So if you go onto Canvas, which is the LMS that most of us use, then minimally by those folders need to be organized often by course dates, topics, things like that. So some people are already doing a lot of the stuff where things hit hard, or like we use a lot of PDFs, mostly because Blackboard liked us to. So we used to have Blackboard. Blackboard made everything into a PDF automatically. So people got trained that make everything a PDF. But PDFs are famously inaccessible. So you either got to have things not be a PDF or learn how to make stuff PDFs. Instructional designers are, of course, going to be available to help do these things. And then there's also accessibility checkers, Canvas, Microsoft, Google, etc. They have these things. So if I actually go right now and off of it, then I go down to this corner, it says accessibility good to go. It pulls up the assistant. Notice how I've got all checks because I don't have any missing alt text. I have no missing subtitles. I don't have any missing headers or any of the things that it looks for. But this is all in the newer version of Microsoft PowerPoint. And what I've noticed when I've gone to teach my students about this, not all the computers have this version of PowerPoint on it. So, or Word. So I don't know how things are going to go in terms of investment, but those are some of the things that we talk about in steering. So prioritization, got to think about materials width. What materials do individuals, particularly those with disabilities, need the most? Emergency services. So which spaces do most individuals with disabilities, were they served or anticipated to be served? And a lot of that is going to be the websites where we talk about accessibility, but there could be other things. And then we need to think about what materials that everybody's required to use, or what spaces everyone's required to use if it's not instructional, right? So if everybody has to buy a meal plan, or if everybody has to go into a certain space to enroll in classes, for instance, those are the things to take care of first. And then what are you just about to do next? And those are where we probably should think first. So forthcoming from UNM, they're working on policy in adopting the Title II standards with a commitment to digital accessibility. There's a 5 things to know about digital accessibility video that's going to be available very soon. So it's already been shot and filmed and taken care of. They're doing specific professional learning courses for instructors, staff, and students about making the web applications and mobile applications ready for instructional purposes first. They're probably working on other things too. They're already making changes to foundational and golden PAW reviews to account for digital accessibility, so that they've been doing for quite a while, since the pandemic, actually. Like, they redid a lot of those. There's a search underway for a digital accessibility specialist. Will there be like places of overlap where it's going to be hard to make some stuff accessible, particularly right away? Like, I would think so. And that is why I think that the faculty center should know about this, and people should be going and talking to their units and trying to figure out like where the difficult parts are going to be, what might be a gigantic financial burden, and like how do we talk about that, move that through committee, and because there's supposed to be a standing committee at the end, and like how do we want to make sure that faculty voice is appropriately represented, but also that people are protected. And then sometimes people ask, so is this all just going to go away in this current sort of national situation that we're in? And enforcement so far is expected to look different. So the Office of Civil Rights might do monitoring for specific complaints, but the DOJ has signaled that for private enforcement, meaning they're just going to allow people to sue universities when stuff doesn't happen that's supposed to happen. And so, and given that there might be an appreciation for people that go out and sue universities, then maybe they wouldn't want to take it away. I do know that the OPM manager at the federal level people have lobbied and asked him to get rid of this, and he hasn't done it. And so reporting and testing might look different. So reporting and testing for digital accessibility, funding flow seems like it's going to look different. And then schools just need to decide how they're going to ensure all the students have access to the content. And universities, I would think, would benefit most from internal processes, policies, procedures, where people can resolve these issues grievance processes, coordinators, committees, etc., because we just want to make sure that we're like out of the spaces where people become upset again and like pursue this private action, but also we want to make sure that students and employees have the access that they're wanting to have. And so as resources on these slides, remember you can go back and get them. Here's the exact language of the revision. So there, notice that there is provision for like undue financial and administrative burdens, but again, you'd have to prove it. And then here's some other resources. So there's some how-to videos from the Office of Civil Rights. There's the UNM CTL website. And then here's the thing that I wrote with my colleague for universities about how to address some of these issues going forward. And so, and again, I'll go back to the beginning in case you want to get these slides. And I will take a question if anyone has one. Looks like there was something that came, there's a few things.
You have several in the chat, and the first one is there still a Department of Education Office for Civil Rights to enforce this?
That all those people moved to the DOJ that kept their jobs.
Okay.
So if they're not, they may not be in the Department of Education, but there are still people like working on some people working on civil rights enforcement, and they just farmed them out to HHS, Health and Human Services, or the Department of Justice.
Okay, and then will student organizations be impacted for their events, announcements, etc.?
Yes. So this is probably where it will affect students a lot. So like if students are making curriculum or making projects and they're going to present them to other students, that has to be accessible now. So students will have to know some basic things about how to make things accessible, but where they're probably going to have to do the most technical accessibility work is the student clubs and organizations are going to have to make things on their websites and things they put up on social media accessible. Now, when you link to things and then link to things and then link to other things, then you sort of get this circle out of outreach where it's not our responsibility anymore. So that's true. Or if the students put out something on their website and then somebody else comments on what the students put up, then that doesn't fall under the student's responsibility to make that accessible. But what the university initially puts forward under their auspices does.
All right, and we will make the slides available. We're going to send them out to everybody, so
Okay.
you don't have to worry about that. So were there other questions? All right, Mary, I want to thank you very much for coming and doing this. I highly encourage people to reach out to Mary and have her do a more reasonably paced presentation where she can work with the faculty in the different departments and help you with this process because it's going to be extensive. So thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. All right, public, do we have any public comment?
I have no public comment.
All right, that being said, we can move on to the breakout sessions, and we're going to put the breakout sessions up by name, and you can choose the one that you want to go to. And I will say that based on the fact that it is 20 after, by the time you get into these, I don't want to shortchange all of these groups. You can see in the chat now which groups, which ones, so you know which number to choose. I'm going to add report outs to the next faculty agenda before we move on to other business, so that you don't have to do that. But if somebody can take notes in these meetings and email them to me, I will compile them so we make sure that we're sharing them with all the faculty senators before the next meeting. So please don't say who said what. Just, just take the basic notes and I'll share them. And we'll try to get the issue with the mutual aids on the next Faculty Senate agenda, as well as report outs for these, in addition to any notes you send me, which I will make sure that I compile and share. So you can see your breakout groups in the chat. Pick the one you want to go to, and then you can basically choose. If you see join, click on the breakouts down in the bottom toolbar, and then just choose join one, and you join whichever one you would want to, and as and you don't need to come back here, because I will put this on the next agenda, because I want you to have plenty of time to discuss. Does that make sense? Thumbs up? Yes? All right. I'll let everybody join their group.
I can't figure out how to join a group. If someone can help me join the Social Justice Committee.
Okay, hold on.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I take it
I
you're
have
on.
the same
I
issue.
can't figure it out either, Nair.
Okay,
How do we do it?
if you're on a
I don't know either.
okay, hold on. If you're on a computer and you look at the bottom, there is a tab, there's a little link that says breakout rooms. Do you see that?
I don't.
Okay.
More.
So-
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I
don't-
just needed to click more. I don't know if anybody else.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so click more, and then you'll see a list of them, and you just click join.
Oh,
Thank you.
go to
Great.
all.
Thank
If you
you.
still have trouble joining, put what you want to join in the chat, and we can always assign you in there.
Right, we can assign you if you can. Luis, where did you want to go?
Whatever you want to send me.
Oh, no.
Okay, well, send him to one of the groups that has people in it. So
Okay, I will.
I don't want anybody to be by themselves.
Yeah, we don't be alone.
Can you send me to the Social Justice Committee, please? I can't, I go to
Yes.
more and I just don't see it.
Sure,
We'll
I
send
will
you.
do.
Oh, it's at the top.
All right.
Thank you. Found it,
Sure.
finally.
Well, and sometimes you have updated and other people don't, so just trying to find it.
Yeah, that's true.
Looks like there's only a couple people in the workload and
Okay, I'll
lead
do that
and,
one.
research under pressure. Caroline's in there.
Yeah, I don't want to add anybody to ones that don't have anybody in them. So just.
Oh,
Okay,
I think that's everyone. All right.
Whew. Thank you. Sorry.